Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How's everybody doing? No, I'm on time. I was here actually. I actually had to restart OBS, so I actually was on time, but then I had to restart OBS. What's up, Cube? Good to see you in the chat. Hey, give me 1 second. I gotta switch something real quick. Hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. So what I'm going to do here is actually adjust the ATM strategy parameters. I figured I would just show you what to do when you have volatility like this. So right now, you can see the ATR is very high. So what we're looking at is take profit target on the scalp recommendation is almost 11 instead of 4 ticks. So we'll go with around 10. So the take profit target is going to be 10. I'm just going to make this something like somewhat arbitrary, and then I'll just adjust it based on the actual trading. We can probably just leave the... we can make this bigger here. We'll just make this something bigger. We'll do like 50. And then we just have to change our setting here. Okay. So this will be a strategy of trading 5 contracts. And this will be the take profit settings. So we're going to hit OK. And now we have it set up. So I was actually, there's this, is there 67? It's hard to see if these ones are breaking below. See, they're getting inside bars a lot today. But this is some weird price action right now. It's really volatile. In case you're not sure what happened, I posted it in my Discord. Here, I'll go get it. Let me show you. Or I posted it at least in the paid community section of my Discord. You can kind of see it here. There was a bunch of stuff that happened with tariffs around 8 o'clock this morning, and it just completely tanked the market. So, a bunch of stuff about China, tariffs, relations, all that sort of stuff. So, that's what we had going on. And I can tell you it was absolute chaos. But what was really crazy was I actually was in a trade when it happened. So it was like, I feel like I'm still trying to like relax because that was so much chaos. But let me show you what happened. Hey, Daryl, good to see you. Yeah, there is. There's a news feed in the free channel that I have on there. Here, I'll show you. But I just posted a screenshot of that. Yeah, if you're in my Discord, there's a section down here called news feed. I have it muted, but it shows you what's going on. Here, I think if you go back to that time of the day, where was it? Right here. It has all this stuff, breaking news. So it's all in there. That's straight from Financial Juice. But yeah, we were just, what I meant is that we were chatting about it in the paid community because it was absolute chaos. So let's try to go back real quick and look at this day at how it progressed. So this is how I started. I started with what looked like a range. So the overnight was here. I had this blue line was originally my range high. And we basically had this little range. We had a little uptrend, close outside, and move to a new high. And then I drew a wider channel here because it looked like it was going to be in play at a certain point. But after we broke out of the top of the range, we actually came back and got a breakout pullback. So if I know that at least one person in my paid community took that and got a big runner there, so that's cool. I didn't take this trade, but it is there. It's a breakout of the range and then a pullback and then a chance to go long. Not guaranteed, but if you had the trend line, the wider trend line drawn, then it would have actually confirmed that trend line pretty well. So pretty nice little setup. It then runs higher, comes all the way up here, gets really close to the all-time high, but doesn't quite get there. And then eventually I move this to my range high. Because when we started to come down, we were kind of bouncing near this area, this like midline sort of area. This blue line was my original range high right here. And so we end up with this little downtrend. You get a close outside, moves to a new low, and gives us a second entry long. It's also right off that previous range high. So I saw this as a second entry long and a breakout pullback, and I did take that one. That was a nice one. Nice little setup. You may or may not get a runner there. I didn't because this bar came back and stopped out my runner. So no runner there for me. Then it came down. This is just like a little channel down that didn't play out. Eventually it plays out over here. But we basically just get really choppy. Now, I kept on drawing downtrends here thinking, hey, it looks like it's going lower because we're making lower highs and lower lows throughout this process. But nothing was really fitting. It kept breaking through. So it was performing very strangely and very choppy. So I was just playing mostly the short-term trend lines because the wider stuff wasn't really fitting. Eventually, we did have this level that came into play. And so right here, we have this move, comes down. This one comes up, gets an equal high, close outside. So you could kind of treat that like it played out. There's actually a first entry, second entry long that failed here. I did take that one. Now, this one's a little dangerous because it is a bit congested right here. So you are taking a risk going short below this. But it does look like it's going to trap some longs here. But it is definitely a little bit of risk. I was looking at this like this thing was going to probably bust down. So this was a nice one. The way that I entered this is a little different than how I'd usually play it. I didn't just have my order sitting right here like that. What I did instead was I waited for this bar to come down and close. And then I actually dropped, like after this started to break through, I dropped a limit order like back here. And then just scalped a little short. That's how I played that one because I thought that we were going to get follow through and at least come down and test this midline. So that's how I played it. So it's a little bit more nuanced. Not for everyone. That's way more advanced setup. Probably not one that most people should take. And then we come up, we get this little, this is a close outside new low. Not convincing, not super convincing, but it is there. Get this little tight channel up, close outside new high. But then I saw this as possibly another channel. There is two legs there. Here, I didn't measure them, but they look like they're probably measured. Pretty close to two measured legs there. But it does give you a second entry short that fails and then gives you this one that then goes down. I don't know. I didn't love that. You could argue there's a triple test there. I just thought that this might be a channel of its own. So I just didn't want to take a short there. Now, when this came down and gave us a first entry pullback, you don't get a second entry long here. Equal low. Then you do get a second entry long that fails again. I just don't think this is too sideways. And with these inside bars, it's congestion. You got to stay out because the second entry didn't trigger. Then you get this bar that's basically an inside bar. Then this one that's basically an inside bar. You know, these are basically all bars. Like these two bars right here. Here, I'll just draw it like this so you can see. They're basically inside this bar right here. So I just don't like that. It looked like congestion to me. So I don't think you want to take a long or a short there. You're kind of hovering at the EMA. You might get a new high here. But it was looking bearish overall because we kept rejecting to go higher. So anyway, I was a little concerned there. Now, it does come down. It gives us a close outside, another new low. Then this one comes up. Now, at this point, if you zoom out, this is what you have on your chart. And you could see that these swings are making lower lows mostly and lower highs. This one didn't quite go down, but I'm thinking to myself here, we're probably going to go lower, especially when this high was still a little bit lower than this one. I'm thinking, all right, we're probably going to go lower. So, all right, so let me see. Oh, yeah, cube for sure. That was this one right here. Yep. So then basically we have this little channel up. It gives you a first entry short right there. Still inside the channel. Then there's like a second entry short equal high, but it's too much tail. You can't go short there. You get an inside bar anyway. But when it comes up and gives us this triple test and lower high, that one is nice because you can look here like this was maybe a failed breakout. This is a level that was respected. Here, 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 and then here again with the lower high and triple test. I think that that one is pretty straightforward. I mean, if you look, you could also look at this like a bigger first entry short and kind of like a second entry short if you kind of look at this all like one leg. But it's really just like a triple test. It's a lower high. Now, I was in this trade. I didn't even have time to move my take profit on my runner. So the nice thing with my strategy is that my default runner is set to 32 ticks. So like not bad, of course, but this is how this goes. Right? Like, so I entered 1 tick below and my stop loss was 1 tick above. Now, I don't know why it came all the way up to 1 tick within my stop loss, but this is why we keep our stop losses where we do. So I actually thought I was going to have a loser for a second. I was like, well, I guess I'm having a loser here, you know? Like I was prepared for that to be a loser. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know? Bar's not that big. It's 8 ticks, 10 tick. I'll have a 10 tick loss on this. But what ended up happening was it came within like 1 tick of my stop loss. And then that news happened and it just completely, like, it just went boom. And I didn't even have time to do anything. I mean, because if you look here, like by this point, that's where my runner is at 32 ticks, right? So I didn't even have time to move it because, why is it doing that? Because if you look at these bars, they printed in like seconds. I mean, I think that printed in, that one is 57.56. When did this one stop? 57.53. So that was 3 seconds. That was literally 3 seconds, and both of my TPs were hit. Like I didn't even have time to do anything. And then before you know it, it was just like boom, it just kept going. So I could have had, dude, I could have had like a, probably like, look at how, man, it's hard to look at it in hindsight because like, imagine, I wouldn't have rode the runner through all this, but dude, imagine having that runner and actually having my TP further down. Like, man, I would have had, let's see. Man, I could have rode that thing all the way down till this thing broke and gotten 70 points out of that or something crazy. Even if I just rode it down to here, I could have got over 30 points on that runner, but oh well. You know, that's just the way it is sometimes. I don't typically see that. You can't anticipate a news event like that, but that's what happened, and that's what it is. So then, after that, I was like, okay, I'm pretty much done now because the volatility was so high. I didn't want to mess with this. I still marked up the chart and hung out and showed the setups with the paid community, but I didn't want to mess with the size of these bars. You definitely got to change your contract size if you're taking these trades down here. So that's what I saw. Anyway, definitely smash up the likes, everybody. Smash up the likes. Let me see what you're talking about. You said the Discord channel. Let me see your screenshot. Here, I'll pull it over here. Smash up the likes. I'll go through the rest of the trades in a second. I just want to take a look for Cube here at what he's talking about. Is this troll or not? And by the way, if you're in my free Discord, which you can get to from the link tree, that's in the description. Just watch out for the fake Nick Bannock accounts. There's some scammers that always show up. All right, so what are you saying here? So this, I don't know what that arrow is. That looks, I don't know what you're looking at there, but okay. Second entry long, higher low in range, 707. Let me find that on my chart. 707 for me is right here. No, right here. I see what you're saying. Okay, so No, look, this is your high. Pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long. So you could count from here, but there's no break above on my chart. So this is just a first entry on my chart if you're counting that way. On your chart, you do have a high pullback. These are inside bars anyway, but this is your low, and this is just an inside bar and another inside bar. So it's really just a first entry. That's not a second entry long on mine. I guess on your chart, this is a new high pullback. It's kind of like a first entry long, but you see this higher low is actually a second entry long right there. So you'd restart your count here. So it's just a first entry. So no, that's not a good setup. Not a good setup, in my opinion. Yeah, even though it looks different, I still don't. I think that the way that you counted that is off because you have that higher low there. So there you go. All right. So then let's see. Okay, I forget where I was. Okay, I was over here. All right, let me then look at this insanity. So everybody here, I don't know what you mean. You can't use the previous high as the count start. Well, you had a swing. You already had a second entry long there, right? There's a higher low in all that, and that already gave you the second entry long. So this high becomes the new high in that swing. The second entry long already played out. So it's really like, that would be almost like taking it like just a higher low after a second entry long. I guess you could, but this is your low here. It's not, it's kind of a higher low. I don't know that I'd count it like that. All right, so then we have this absolute chaos. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't understand the question there, Q. Sorry, man. I don't understand what you're asking there. Okay, so then this thing cruises down. You get a close outside. Keeps going. And then it just becomes absolute carnage. Absolute carnage. So it just keeps going. Keeps going. Yeah, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Keeps going. So I drew a wider channel. There's not really any setups here. There's a second entry short here, but it forms a new low all in one bar, so you can't take it. First entry there. There is a second entry short here. So if you were trading this, you could look at this like a first entry, second entry short. It's a little risky. You don't have a ton of space to the lows. So if you take that, you're kind of playing with fire. But it ends up working. I mean, with that kind of volatility, maybe. I just don't think it's worth it, but it's there. So I figured I'd mark it. Comes down, you get a close outside. And then you actually do get this one. This is a nice one because you get a move up. First entry short, move up. Second entry short, close outside. That's a second entry short. You're looking for a new low here. It's a pretty safe trade, but I have to mark it yellow just because of this absolute carnage that was happening. So you got to watch out. So then this comes down. Then we come up and get a first entry short, second entry short that fails. But you have to realize that that's probably going to fail because if you look at this channel, this is a close outside, but you don't have a new high yet. So even though, so there's a failure there. Now, I don't think you want to take a failure here. I don't think you have enough room. I actually didn't measure it, but I don't know. I mean, if you take this failure, you're playing with fire. You've got a 31 tick bar and only enough space for a tiny scalp. I don't think it's worth it to take the failure here. I don't think it's worth it, even though it's there. But I do think you could take this trap. Because at this point, everyone tried to go long here, thinking that they were catching this high or low failure. All these shorts got trapped. Then all these longs got trapped. Then it does make a new high and gives us this big bearish bar. And it's so bearish here, you're probably going to keep going lower. Or at least come back to the EMA. So I think if you took that trap, it's more reasonable. 25 tick bar. Then it comes down. It creates this kind of bottom where we kind of are bouncing. We run up. Don't get a new high. Or close outside new high. So close outside here. And then it runs up. Doesn't give us a new high. Tries again. Doesn't give it to us. It's kind of a triple test. But I don't think you're looking to take anything yet. Then it just runs down. And at this point, you run through. You can't take this long. Because even though it basically, if you treated this like a double top, it kind of looks like a second entry long. It's still kind of in this down channel, and it's below this level. Then there's a higher low that traps everybody. They all think, hey, failed breakout, higher low. They all go long. They get trapped because you don't have a new low here yet. So you don't want to take that. That's crazy. But there's no signal bar to take the short here. There's a first entry, second entry short, but the signal bar just isn't good. If this was a good signal bar, I would have said that you could probably take that short as like a nice second entry short and trap. But it didn't happen. Then this thing runs down and kind of forms a trend of its own. Now, I drew a measured move here, right? So I measured this whole leg, and then I measured this whole leg, and we actually got the measured move, and it went a little further even. So I was thinking this new down channel was going to come down. Originally, I thought that this might go all the way, but then I formed a little bit of a wider channel here that ends up playing out. So there's no trades in here because they're all first entry shorts. And I just think it's too risky. So then what happens is you come up and you get a first entry short, second entry short. This is an equal high, so this isn't a perfect setup. If this thing broke a little higher and then came down, I would have liked it a little better. But this equal high to this bar, you could treat like a separate swing. So you could treat this like a second entry short because it's like a lower high. But it's basically an inside bar, this one, so I don't love it. However, it's only 16 ticks, which doesn't sound small, but in the context of all this, that kind of is small. So, so anyway, that's there. The new high already happened. It's off of this, kind of confirming this trend line. So I think you're pretty safe there. It's your first time trying to get above the EMA and then you fail. So I think you're probably going to go down to the lows. There's some failures in here. I don't think you want to take those. Comes down. Nothing really good here. Finally, it comes up to this area. And you actually get a kind of like a first entry. This is kind of like a second entry short that never breaks below. But then it breaks through. So you got to wait here. You don't want to take any of this because it just comes down and makes a new low. I think it made a new low there. Yeah, it did. So the down channel had played out. Now you make this new low. You make this one. I think this is one tick higher. So you actually get a higher low here. If you take a long there, though, you are really just playing with some serious fire. I just don't think that it's smart to take the higher low. Technically, yeah, this is like two legs to a new low and a higher low, but after all this bearish momentum, taking a long down here feels way off base. So I looked at this like a first entry short, second entry short failure. So if you took the failure here, it's a little more reasonable, but and did my trend line move on me again? I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't actually matter. But even if it did, there's not room to the high, though. So it's pretty dangerous to take the failure there anyway. Creates an equal, I think an equal low there, maybe. Anyway, it goes up. And then you get a first entry long, second entry long, but no signal bar here. If you had a good bullish close here, you maybe could take the second entry long if it went like above the EMA. Maybe if it engulfed this bar. But it just didn't happen that way. This one did create an engulfing bar, but you had an inside bar then from this bar, so I just don't like it. Higher low has already moved too far to take the higher low, and you can see it would have trapped you anyway if you did that. That's why you only want to take higher lows after second entries if it hasn't moved that far yet. But in this case, it moved way too far. Like you can't take the higher low when it's already moved almost 5 points. That's just not safe. I'll get to everyone's comments here in a second. There's just a lot of price action here. Actually, you know what? Let me look at them now real quick. And then I'll get back to this because there's just a lot of price action to go through. Yeah, so the big long, I already talked about this earlier. There was some crazy news with tariffs, Donald Trump, tariffs, China. You can look it up. It's all in there. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild on the NQ. I think on ES even, on ES, we had a huge move. I mean, if you zoom all the way out and you just measure from the high to the low today, this is not going to line up exactly right, but 150 points almost. It moved like 150 points. I mean, that's insane. Insane movement on the ES. All right. What is your data provider that you use? What's your data provider for your brokerage? Who do you use? Because that could answer the problem. There's also a couple other things. So if you let me know who your data provider is, I can maybe like talk about that. All right, so okay. So up here, we come up, we make this high. So now this uptrend right here has played out. Right here, this one, with this high. I drew this level just in case as a possible, like, you know, possible range area. Ends up not really coming into play, so we can just delete this. First entry, second entry short, but you're not really looking to take that short necessarily. There is a first entry, second entry long that fails there, but again, it's not really where you're looking for a failure either. You do have a new down channel that starts here. There's a second entry short, but it's below this bullish bar, so if you had a good signal bar there, maybe, but it's not good on my chart. What do you use, Cube, though? Like, what do you use? Do you use NinjaTrader with NinjaTrader brokerage data? Do you use something that uses Rhythmic? Like, what's your data provider? Because that will help answer the question. All right, then this thing comes up. First entry, second entry short, but you have an inside bar again. So no setup there. Comes down. First entry, basically a second entry short below this bar because it creates kind of an equal high. This one is actually a little more reasonable. I don't think you want to take that. I think this lower high, I didn't mark this, but this is like somewhat reasonable because you're looking at this thinking, hey, we don't really have a new low on this downtrend. So if you took this lower high, I'd say that's reasonable as like a lower high after a second entry short. Not the best setup, but it's decent. I think it's decent. I didn't draw this, but you could kind of look at this like a short-term trend that already played out, right? With a lower high. You can see that there's somewhat of a little bit of a, like we're having a hard time breaking through. You see how this is kind of like this? We're having a hard time with, we have a very slightly upward bias. Nothing crazy, but you can kind of just see that we're having a hard time getting through here to make that new low and to come down to these levels again. This is the low, so I'm just have this marked. I'll move it over just in case. That's just the low. All right, so let's see here. Here, I'll reload now. It could be. I mean, when you get crazy volatility like this, sometimes things can get a little funky. So it could be. Let me reload. This is going to mess up all my drawings, but let's take a look and see if my candles change. Hopefully it doesn't mess everything up, but we'll see. It might be on me. Honestly, it might be on me. It might have been my internet. Oh, that didn't look like anything changed. All right, let me zoom out. Let me just fix my drawings real fast. It usually only messes up your recent drawings. Okay. Good enough. All right, let me zoom back out. I don't think that changed my candles at all. Let me go back and look. No, that all looks the same. So I just reloaded my data and everything looks the same. So it might be on your guys' side, not mine. Okay, so we have the same Cube. We have the same data then, because that's what I use. NinjaTrader, same thing. NinjaTrader with that same data. So if your candles are looking different than mine, the only thing I could think of is that you might need to right-click and reload all historical data. See if that changes your candles. Same thing with you, John. Give it a test and see if it changes things. If not, who knows? Who knows? Maybe one of us needs to clear our NinjaTrader cache or something. Which I do every so often. Alright, everybody here, smash up the likes. We've only got 10 likes. We're going for 40 like always. We're going for 40. Can we get a Friday goal? Can we get 40 likes today? We haven't had it in a while. So let's get 40. We only got 10. We've got 6,000 65 subscribers. The goal of the day is 6,075. Forgot to say that stuff earlier. Yeah, John, who knows? Clear your NinjaTrader cache. Yep, Cube, here's the thing. All right, let me tell you, because I have some new recent discoveries on all this. All right, so first of all, let me get, all right, hold on. I'm going to open this here so I can show everybody. All right, so first of all, let me get it. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Clear. All right, we're going to get this. I'm going to get a couple of things pulled up here. So first thing is this. NinjaTrader. What? All right, hold on. Why didn't that load? Hang on a second. Article's busted. Okay, that was weird. Article was busted. All right, I refreshed it. You can see this one. Okay, so if you're having weird stuff happen, you can reload your historical data, and that will change things. If you're having issues regularly, and you have to do this regularly, clear your NinjaTrader cache. Very simple. You open up your NinjaTrader folder, and you delete cache, day, minute, and tick. You just delete the folders. That's all you do. Don't touch anything else, but you just delete those 4 folders, and then later on, once you reopen your chart, it will recreate those folders for you, and they'll be fresh. Because they will accumulate like tons of files over time, and they become these huge folders, and they bog down your chart over time. So that's just something I do somewhat regularly. Like every few weeks or so, I'll just do that. Or if I'm finding that I'm having some sort of issue. So definitely do that. Basically, that will help you a lot. But the other thing I noticed is this. I made this change recently. Oh, by the way, I'm over here yapping, and there's a second entry long that is happening right now. I'm over here yapping, not even paying attention. Hasn't moved very far. Hasn't moved very far at all. But, oh, also, we need to change our settings here. You can see my TP setting is different, so I'm going to adjust that to 9 as my take profit, because my TP recommendation is below a 10 now. I'm going to adjust that. There you go. There's actually a possible higher low here. What is that low? 82. Yeah, it's an equal low. This is probably going to work. That's a pretty nice little second entry. Nice little second entry. I don't know. Let's see how this higher low forms, if it does form, actually. Because it's kind of a weak trend, right? It's kind of a weak trend. But you are kind of bouncing off of this level. So let's see. Let's see if this holds here and gives us a higher low. First entry, second entry long, higher low. I think that it probably will. So let's see if it happens. Let's see if it happens. Well, I'll get back to what I was saying in a second. There's the higher low. Let's see if we get it. Let's see.
Order submitted.
Good grief, dude. Absolute chaos today. Nope. No signal bar.
Order canceled.
No signal bar. So anyway, clearing those folders every so often is going to help you a lot. But here's the other thing I discovered that I changed recently that will help everybody that has this problem on NinjaTrader and probably on any platform that has tick charts. Change your settings on your computer so that it doesn't go into sleep mode and stuff like that. So I changed mine so that it takes when it's plugged in, because I have a laptop that I use. When it's plugged in, it won't go into sleep mode for like 5 hours or something like that, right? And it won't even turn off the screen for a long time. So it basically won't like hibernate or sleep mode or any of that sort of stuff. Because what happens is, like, let's say that you walk away from your computer. This is what I was finding. Like, I would sometimes leave to take the dog for a walk before I do my live stream. And so what would happen is, I'd leave the computer open, and I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to leave it all open, leave all my drawings, I'll be good to go. And then I'll come back and do my live stream. And then everybody would say, hey, your bars all look different. And then I'd go, oh, let me refresh. And I realized that what was happening was that when I was walking away from the computer, it was after being away for whatever it would be, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it would go into sleep mode or like hibernate or whatever those settings are. And it would cause the data to be messed up when I like took it out of sleep mode, and it would be off by like a candle or something. And so I started to just refresh every time I got back from my walk, and that would change the candles. So then what I did was I just went, okay, I'm just going to change my settings so that it doesn't go into sleep mode for like several hours and the screen stays on and all that sort of stuff. And now I don't have that problem. So this could be what's happening on your computer, especially if you're on your battery or something. Like maybe you go to the bathroom and your computer has like a setting where it turns off the screen and goes into sleep mode after 5 minutes, and it messes up all your candles. So I would change that setting in your actual computer, and it will probably fix the problem for a lot of you. Doesn't look like this channel is going to come into play. I thought it was, but turns out it is not. So what we're going to do is draw a line off of these lows. See if it's lining up. It's lining up pretty decent right there. This is like a little breakout of it, but you could see us bouncing off that level. So let's see if we could smack through. Whoops. There was a down channel here, by the way. Like that. That never quite got a new low, so that's probably what was happening here. You do have to wonder, is there something like this now? Let's draw it as a possibility. It would not surprise me to form an entirely new just channel and go lower and get basically another big move. I would not be surprised. All right. Everybody here, please smash up the likes. We've only got 12. There's twice as many people watching right now as we have likes. The math ain't adding up, fam. And then, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. The math still ain't mathin'. The math still ain't mathin', fam. What are we doing? What are we doing? Everybody hit the like button. Oh, God. Where's my dad joke crew? I haven't seen Doss in a while. I haven't seen Matt. I've seen Matt sometimes. We need dad joke crew to be here on a Friday. Where's dad joke crew? So I was telling everybody this the other day. And just in case anybody wasn't here. Oh, come on, man. Hold on, my dog's barking. Give me a sec. Hey, chill out, dude. Fine. Nothing happening. Man. Nothing happening. There is nothing happening. Why are you barking? No. Nothing happened. Enough. I didn't even mute that. You probably heard my conversation with the dog. I'm like, dude, there's nothing happening. Like, what are you even barking for? Like, what is the purpose of this? Been like that all morning. Just randomly throwing out barking. I'm like, there's not even anything happening. I know, for real. This guy. The nerve. He was in the office. He was actually in the office till I walked away. I'm glad that he wasn't just now, because that you would have heard that. He barks so loud. It's like so loud. Go for it, Jarvis. Go for it. All right, so what do we got going on here? We're breaking through this low. That low did not hold by any means. So we're coming down to the low of the day. So let's see if we can get there. We should probably, just to be safe here, draw this off of these closes so that we have basically both areas, because that's where we currently are, is off of those closes right there. But this actual blue line down here, this one that goes all the way to the end of my screen, that's the low of the day right now. This channel does appear to be cruising. Yep. So as always, everybody, link tree is in the description. You can also go down to the live chat. You can get to the school community. This is my school community where I teach everything that we're doing here. Everything's here. I'm not going to go over all of it. It's $127 a month, and this is it. So that's it. I'm not going to talk about it much more. Just going to leave it there. But if you have questions on the school community, on what's involved, on what you get, anything like that, go ahead and ask them, and I'm happy to address it. Yep, for sure, Cube. Jarvis, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss a comment. I don't know if that's part of your inappropriate joke. All right, so we did come down. We made it. We just broke the low of the day, so we can just delete that. That's the low of the day now, right there. Man, this is incredible. Let's pull up a daily chart real quick. Let's pull up a daily chart. Alright, so this is our daily chart. Now, remember, I had this trend line drawn. You can see it's still on here from last time that we opened this. This is what our daily chart looks like on the ES. So, just in case anyone doesn't remember, this absolute carnage right here, that down move, was during the last tariff scare. All this chaos was from those tariffs news. All these crazy days that happened, that's what that was. So, you know, it'll be an interesting thing to see what happens here, because that's what all this was. Now, at the time, I would say that news was more intense, because they it was sort of almost a black swan event. Like, we hadn't really seen them implement something like that. Oh, we're doing a 25% tariff, whatever it was back then. This was back in April. It was March. This down move was from February into March, but then this crazy move here was during April. All right. So anyway, since then we rallied, and then we formed this channel on the daily chart. Now, depending on how this bar closes today, we might break through the bottom of the channel. Now, what's good about that is that what do we know about price action? We know that the most likely situation if we do close down here, let's say, the most likely situation of price action is that we're eventually going to have some sort of new low and then move to a new high. Because price action typically plays out that way. We'll form some sort of down channel that maybe gets a close outside, new low, and then we get maybe some sort of up channel that runs us to a new high. That's typically how price action plays out. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. This could be, this could be one of these guys, right? And then it could be one of those guys. Like, it could take a while, right? Even that would put us all the way into late November for that to happen. Like, just the way I drew this. So keep that in mind. But pretty incredible price action. I mean, that's a big, big move. So anyway, we'll have to wait and see how the day actually closes. I mean, I would be amazed if somehow it closes back inside the channel. It would have to rally. I mean, it would probably have to rally like all the way up here somewhere for it to not close outside of the channel. It would be really incredible if it did that. And we got like a Friday afternoon rally back up. But I don't see that happening after that kind of move. I mean, that would be really wild. All right, let's see. Well, Cube, that's the way it goes with the swing trading stuff. It's the way it goes. Yeah, I mean, the reality is that there's a high likelihood that this isn't even gonna like have a lot of follow through. Because if you think about it, like, this is all based on a couple of like Trump tweets or whatever you call them. He uses that ridiculous platform, whatever that platform is that he created, Truth Social. So corny. It's just so corny. That I mean, I get why it happened, but it's so corny. Anyway. So yeah, he sent out a couple of truths. It's just so corny to say. But anyway, I still refer to them as tweets. This is all based on a few Trump tweets, and like it's not like nothing. I don't think anything is solidified as far as I know, unless things have developed since I've been streaming. I wasn't like reading all of it. I don't really pay that much attention to it. I kind of just take note of it and then see what happens. But this could all be a nothing burger. This could all be a complete nothing burger. And, there's a discussion that happens the middle of next week and everything's good again. And then the market just goes up. It could just be one of those. He big mad. He is big. Is the dude ever not big mad? It's all theater. It's all theater, all of it. Second entry short forming, but not really a setup here. It looks like we're going to close outside of this little channel here, maybe, unless the channel's very slightly wider, which it might be. We might get a second entry short here. It's a little bit... I mean, you're shorting the low. Not the best place to go short, but it actually could... This could line up as a decent one. So we'll see if we get it. We'll see.
Order submitted.
Oh, I forgot to change my... Can't take it anyway. I got to change this. My TP recommendation is getting lower now. So the volatility is starting to relax a little bit here. So we're down to going for probably 7 or 8 ticks, depending on which ATR you're using. I'm using the 14 period right now, just because it's in the middle of these and seems to fluctuate quite a bit right now. So I'm using that one. So, but it's fine. I'll go for, I'll set it to 8 for now. Well, I'll just pull up, where is it? 5, 8. Pull up that one. Oh, is that what this is? Ah, interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. You might be right. You might be right. I just saw that there was some Truth Social posts or something, and that's what everyone was freaking out, and who knows? Gotcha. I haven't watched or done any analysis really on it. It's kind of just what came through before. Has there been anything since then? Any new updates? Looks like, let's see. I'm looking right now to see if there's anything new. It doesn't look like there's any new updates on it, really. Yeah, nothing really. Well, there was a second entry short there, but the signal bar didn't qualify. It was too neutral. If it closed one tick lower, it would have qualified, but it closed too neutral for me. This is probably not really a close outside. This is probably just a very slightly wider channel like this. Because that still fits pretty nice like that. You can kind of see. That still like lines up pretty good. So I was right that the second entry was there, but I was right to cancel my order too, because not a good signal bar. Let's see. Cube, you got some news on this? Okay. Honestly, I don't even think that this is going to be bearish long term. To be honest, like if it can, this is just my take on the economic stuff, and I'm not like an economic or an economist or whatever. But the way I see it is like, if this does continue with like the tariffs and everything else, like I don't think long term it's necessarily bad for us, because it's likely gonna cause a lot of companies to adjust the way they do their operations and not do everything in China, which I think is pretty much a good thing, right? Like if it creates more domestic production and more independence, I think that's a good thing. Probably takes a long time for it to play out that way, but like I remember, it's not even really like a specific political party affiliation thing, because I remember during the Obama administration, he was trying to get Steve Jobs at the time to bring Apple's production back to the U.S. Does anyone remember that? It was a long time ago, but here, let me see if I could find it. Where was it? It was a long time ago. 2011, I think. Obama was trying to get like Steve Jobs to bring the products back to bring production back to the US, and then he just said it's not going to happen. And that was like a whole thing. Does anybody remember that? It was a long time ago. I guess it was 2011. There was articles on it back in 2012, it looks like, early 2012, but it happened in 2011. Oh, that's wild. I didn't know that they built the original in Texas, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that overall, you know, like, sorry, I got distracted looking at that article because I wanted to confirm. But yeah, I do remember that. And basically, the whole thing is that, like, companies have been, like, all the administrations over a while have been trying to get, yeah, that's a close outside and a new low right there. I don't think you could argue that there's a wider channel. I mean, you could, I guess, say that it sort of fits, but I would say that's a close outside, move to a new low again. But over time, they've been trying, like, every administration has pretty much been trying to get companies to produce here. I will say, like, I don't really like most of the administrations we've had. But what I will say is that, like, recently, with the current one, some of the policies that they're doing with these tariffs and everything, they really do put some pressure on companies to bring back domestic production, which I think ultimately is a good thing long term. It does hurt though, because it means that companies have to raise prices and stuff while it's happening, because it's hard to produce. If there's tariff fees on their products, they're probably gonna have to raise their prices while they change production and all that. Eventually, they will have to find a way to efficiently produce domestically if they want to do it, because consumers will only tolerate higher prices for so long. But I do think that, like, so it creates a little bit of pain in the short term, but I think long term it might be a good thing. Getting more domestic production again. Like, it's kind of lame that almost everything gets manufactured in a couple of Asian countries these days. And that's not really good for a lot of countries, because, I mean, does everybody remember during like the COVID era when, like, everything got super expensive because of all the shipping containers being stuck in the ocean and all this other stuff? Like, it got ridiculous. I think I remember seeing that, like, the cost of getting a shipping container shipped was like 4 times as high for just, like, companies. It was crazy when all that happened. So that's not really good anyway. Like, it's way better if we can produce stuff locally. So I just think that we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. But every administration, I think, has tried to encourage it to some extent. But we haven't seen something like this we haven't seen something like this with big tariffs and all that. So zooming out, man, look at this. I don't really know that there's even a way to draw some sort of channel that would even fit this price action. You might be able to draw a channel from over here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, let me try to connect it. This is absolute chaos here. Hold on. All right, I'm just going to temporarily draw it like that, and then I'll fix it, because I need to see if I can connect it. I mean, this kind of fits. Like, it's crazy looking, but this could be argued to be a spike in channel. You know, it's kind of a weird one, but it does fit. So we can put it on there just in case it comes into play, you know. It makes some sense of what's going on. Let me know what you think in the chat. What do you guys think? I will say this. If you look into, if you do, like, it will be good if we get domestic production back, because the policies are way different here. So if, like, let's say companies like Apple or, you know, or Google or whatever start making their phones here and their devices, that would be a big deal, because we have different practices here for protecting the workers. I mean, if you look into, like, the actual factories where the iPhones are made in China, it's really, and like the MacBooks and everything, it is horrible. It's a horrible, like, condition for the workers. Like, just I'm not going to go into it too much, but just go and Google it, and you're going to be like pretty mortified by what you find. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Either way, I mean, this isn't really that big of a deal right now. I mean, like, look at the daily chart. Pull up the daily chart again. I mean, at the end of the day, is this really that big of a deal? Look at where we are in general. I mean, like, we just came off the all-time high. Like, does it really matter if we pull back a little bit? It doesn't matter to me. I mean, unless we form like a big downtrend, but then we'll just trade the trend. But overall, like, this is just a cool off. Sometimes it's a news catalyst that does it, but like, it's not really that big of a deal unless we start to see something like this again, which we could. We could, right? Like, this whole move right here was a big, big move. I mean, if you measure this move right here, what do you have there? That from that high to low went down almost 1,400 points. You know, that was a big, big move down. If we went down 1,400 points from up here, it would still put us higher than that, right? But we'd be down here somewhere. That would be absolutely wild to see. But to be fair, during that time, we had like a downtrend correction and then another leg down. Basically like a big two-legged move. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, most of these corrections, like even this one, was pretty big, but not quite like this. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Classic. What's the timestamp on my large channel? Oh, do you mean on on the daily chart? Here, I'll go back. Double inside bars. I'll have to take a look. And yeah, kid. Yeah, kid. Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, pretty much all of these politicians are they not? This day, I started this at May 23rd. Oh, on today's? But yeah, kid, man. Like, I don't like any of these administrations that we've had in a long time. This one here, I started from 811 at this high right there. It's basically the last high that we had. We haven't had a high that high since. That's where I started that. $8.25. Oh, from here? Wait, where's 825? From here? I don't know what you're talking. I don't see how. I don't know what you're talking about. 825. 826. Well, how would that work? 826 is. Where's 826? That's like. What? 826 is this low. How would I draw a down channel from this low? That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Trust what? I don't... There's no way to... I can't... I don't draw... What? I don't know what you're talking about, Cube. I don't... You can't draw a down channel from a low. You have to draw it from a high. So that doesn't make any sense. The top part... Are you talking about right here? 8:27 and 58 seconds? Is that what you're talking about? Alright, yeah. Post it in Discord, because I got no idea what you're talking about, fam. I feel like you're trolling me. You trolling me? You trolling me, son? Alright, so everybody here, smash up the likes. Smash up those likes. We've only got 15. I want us to get to 40 today. Let's do it. Alright, let me look at Discord real quick. Alright, let me see what this guy's talking about. Let me see what he's talking about. Nah, that doesn't work, man. You have a close outside on that one. You have a close outside. No way, dude. Because you'd have a close outside if you do that. See what I'm saying? There's a close outside right near the top. That doesn't work. Here, I'll draw it on my chart to show you what I'm talking about. The reason that you can't draw it like that is because if you just start to draw this, the only it would fit right there, but you have a close outside, so that doesn't really work. I see what you're saying, because you could go like this, you could draw it from here, you could connect it like through some of these closes and just treat that like a failed breakout type of thing, and then it fits off these lows like this. I get what you're saying, like I get that, but this is a close outside, so if I'm doing a down channel, I want it to be an actual down channel. Also, the midline here fits. This midline is pretty decent. And it gives us all this space down here to run into, which I think is highly likely. So just watch, and we'll see. It actually might even happen right now. Because you got this move here. This is probably going to just completely... We're going for it, fam. We're going for it. We'll see, though. If it holds there, then you might be right. But I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a range overall. Like, it's like a grind down, right? It's like kind of like a range. All right, got to check my messages real quick. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, let me see here. How many points wide is the channel? Let's see. About 64. 64. All right, you're trading. Okay, Gate, you're trading. I don't even. What is XAU? What is that? What is that? I don't actually know what that is. You notice that when a trend line is broken, it doesn't form a new extreme. Could this affect your trading? What? All right. I'll pull it up just for fun. I'll pull it up for fun in a minute. Hold on. Jose, what are those numbers below the candles? That right there is part of... it's actually part of a toolbar, an indicator that I built for NinjaTrader. It's the Freedom Algo Toolkit. You get access to it if you have a membership to my school community. It's just part of the membership. I just launched this recently. So it's the size of the candle in number of ticks. So like you see how this says 15 right here? If you measure from the low to the high of the candle, see how it's 3.75 points? That's 15 ticks. And they turn green if it's a bullish close. They turn yellow if it's a neutral close, and they turn red if it's a bearish close, so that you know if it's a good signal bar. So it's kind of telling us the size of each bar in terms of number of ticks in it. Okay, Rolf, gold. Okay, gold. All right, let's take a look at it. Gold on the 5-minute chart, that's what we're talking about. Let's take a look. Just for fun, just to show that price action works on everything. I've never looked at XAU. Like I said, I don't even know what it is. XAU USD. Is this the one I should look at? Awanda? Let me know. Which one should I look at? What is that? Awanda? Awanda? Or forex.com? Which one do you use? Because I'll just use whatever one you guys use. Where is it? All right. I was about to hit you with the Bueller gift because that was taking forever. All right, here we go. All right. All right, let's see here. So we got Awanda 5 minute. All right, so you said you notice when a trend line is broken, it doesn't form a new extreme. All right, I'm going to show you. It probably does form a new extreme. All right, so let me just give me a second to get my bearings here. Okay, so let's just look at today just to be, what is this? Friday? Yeah, okay. Let's do it. Parallel channel. We'll go weak magnet here. I haven't used TradingView in a while, so don't roast me, okay? Okay, first example, close outside, move to a new high. So that one did play out exactly as it should. Okay, second example, close outside, new low. Next example, close outside, new high. Let me turn off this magnet. It's being annoying. Close outside, new low. Short term, close outside, new high, goes higher. So there might be a wider channel there. So let's see. Yeah, there is, but this one has a close outside. We don't have a new high yet, but we also just got that absolute chaos news. So who knows what's going to happen. All right, and then from the high, close outside, new low. Okay, so right now, the only trend line on here that doesn't have a close outside, new high is this one right here. This trend line. And it might just be that it hasn't happened yet. And also, by the way, this was a channel that got a close outside, and it did make a couple legs to a new high right there. So, I mean, technically, you could argue that this is the close outside and 2 legs to a new high, and then it reversed. So, the wider channel didn't come into play down here. So, it is very possible that this actually, hold on, let me go back and draw it. Go back here. This right here could have even been drawn. You could even draw this one like this. And you could see close outside, 2 legs to a new high, reversal. So, I mean, this channel right here might not even be true because it already is an uptrend. Close outside, 1, 2 legs to a new high, reverses. I mean, that's really perfect price action, all of that. And now we're going down lower. Sometimes you do get a wider channel. Sometimes you do get a wider channel, not always. But I mean, literally every single one of these examples, it meets the criteria. So Gate, do you see what I'm saying? Gate Zach, every one of these met the criteria. This one had a close outside and a new high. This one had a close outside and a new low. This one had a close outside and new high all at once, and then reversed. This one had a close outside and new low all at once. This one had a close outside, 2 legs to a new high. Reverse. This one had a close outside, new low. I mean, everything is playing out the way that you would expect. This is not a trend in here, so you wouldn't really look at that as a trend right there. So what do you think? All right, I'm going to minimize that for a minute just in case you ask me any questions about it, because I'm not sure if you're still there. All right. Cube, it is bouncing from your area, so who knows? I mean, you might be right. But also, that is also my midline, so we'll see. Let's see. Let's see. Do I have videos? Yeah. Yeah, I do, of course. Yeah. Cube, I have a bunch of videos on spotting entries. I even have a bunch of old videos that were recorded like way back of just me recording actual trades and showing them. There's a whole bunch of trade recordings on there of just like showing how to execute everything and all that. There's a bunch of that. There's also a bunch of nuances about what to avoid. Yes. I actually did a video on Wednesday, a live call with the community, and I added it to the course, and it was literally about that topic. It was the nuances of price action and bias and how to avoid certain things. Well, Gate Zach, I can't give you advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? I can just tell you that if I were trading that, I would just use the same strategies that I use on everything else. I don't know, but I just don't know why you were saying that it's not fitting it. And the only thing, here's what I think you're probably doing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Most people draw their trends too wide and they don't draw the short-term stuff, but the short-term stuff is the most important. And then you draw the wider trends also. But a lot of people would approach this chart like this. And they would just go, well, it's an uptrend, right? And that's how they would draw this. And yes, there is a touch here, and a swing down here. But like, that's how most people would try to trade this. And they would try to go long here and probably get wrecked because it's probably going to go lower. And that big trend is going to be unreliable most of the time. That's how a lot of people approach things. And it's just not, it's not the wise choice. You have to respect the short-term channels. Yeah, that makes sense, Cube. There's everything. Look, what I can say about it, you can try. I will say this. I don't know if he's here or not, but you can ask. Actually, it'll be really good to ask Fraser about this. If Fraser's here, let me know. He's in the paid community, and he did that for a long time. He hung out on the live streams and whatnot, and he basically was trying to like kind of piece together the strategy over time. But you see, what was happening was he was missing a lot of that nuance. And he did comment recently about how, he commented in the paid community recently just about how much it's changed already for him understanding the nuance after going through a bunch of the course. So like, that's just direct feedback from a recent person who had done kind of what you're doing. But I do think it's a smart idea to at least, you know, hang out for a long time and see what you can learn. But I will say this, if you're trying to Frankenstein the strategy together through like the live streams and stuff, you're going to be missing a lot of nuance and context and subtlety and direct lessons that I cover. And that's just the way it is. But that's okay. You can still learn it. And, you know, like just do whatever is going to work best for you to give you confidence. Because I don't want to pressure anybody. Yeah, like I don't want to pressure anybody to join. Like, it's really just a matter of like, I'm confident in what I offer, but I don't want to pressure anybody. Like, everybody's positions are different, everybody's in a different part of their life with finances, so just do whatever is best for you. Don't like, you know, I'm not trying to pressure you or anything. Yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, I didn't really plot anything over here, so I don't know if there's any setups. Let me look. Nothing I like. We kind of have this very slightly upward bias again. We keep getting these little grinds, right? These like little tiny grinds. Yeah, and I will say, Cube, I'm happy to answer some questions and stuff, like, of course. When it comes down to, like, screenshots and chart stuff, I usually reserve that mainly for my paid members. But here and there, I'm happy to look at it. All right, everybody smash up the likes if you haven't done so already. I'll really appreciate that. We're at 17 right now. We're still trying to get to 40, man. We haven't had a goal celebration, I don't think, in a while. So let's see if we can get there. Everybody hit that like button. I'm going to go check on my dog real quick. He's whining outside the door. I'll be right back. What's the problem? I have returned. Oh, I forgot to mute the mic. Whatever. I was talking to my daughter for a second. Turns out the kids actually didn't have school today. I don't know why, but the whole district doesn't have school today for some reason. All right. So... there's actually a second entry long right here. There's a second entry long right here. It's one of those ones where it's like, do you really want to be trading this uptrend with how bearish it's been? I don't know. Is it really worth it to take that long? Not for me. It's too close to the highs anyway. I don't like it. Let's see. Order flow. I've gotten asked this before. Oh, yeah, sorry. Sheesh. What's going on in here? Order flow. I've looked at it. I don't really think it gives you... Look, here's the thing. If it gives you an edge, great. I tried to use it for a little while. I didn't feel like it was giving me much of an edge when I used it. And I felt like it was just confusing me and taking me away from just looking at the price action. Everything that I need to know is on this chart already. So I don't need it to understand where price is going and what it's doing and like finding the setups and all that. So not a big fan, to be honest. But if you like it, more power to you. What other questions we got, fam? Let me know. Let me know. All right, let's see. Let's see. No. It wouldn't be. Well, Well, it depends on this. We had a couple of conversation points about this earlier. Who's your data provider? What brokerage and data provider do you use, Jose? Coming up to my possible trend line here. Little up channel has confirmed. I mean, we have 4 swings on it now. Okay, so that would mean that you're using, if you're using their data, they use, Trade-Evate. Okay, so, yeah, it's not the same data feed, right? Trade-Evate, I think, is similar to Rhythmic or something. I use NinjaTrader brokerage with the CME data through NinjaTrader. So our data provider is going to be slightly different. So our charts aren't going to line up exactly. Just like there's someone else in my community who uses Sierra chart. So their data provider is Denali. So that's a little different as well. So if you use like something where it's Rhythmic or the CME through NinjaTrader or CQG or Denali or, you know, one of the others, you're going to have different looking bars because it's different data providers. Yeah, so I don't know. I can't pull that up because that's not what I'm using. Hey, Insane Football is here. Good to see you, fam. And one thing I'll say also is that if you... Here, I'm going to actually... We'll move the channel if necessary here. Depends on what happens here. But what I was going to say is that if you watch anybody who does these videos like me, right? Like I think Cube was saying that he watches TW, which I don't know what TW uses for data. But if our charts are looking different, it's probably just because we're using different providers. Like I know that the Pat's channel, I know that he uses AMP futures. And so I think their data feed is CQG, but I don't use them. So his candles might look very slightly different than mine. I think that if you watch like Mac's videos, his candles will look pretty similar to mine because the CQG data with AMP futures is pretty much the same thing as the CME data through NinjaTrader. It will be almost identical. There's maybe a very slight difference, but you can tell if people are using something way different based on what their bars look like. Okay, so Trade-Evate's data is going to look a little different than mine too, I think. Yeah. I don't know. I've never used Trade-Evate, but NinjaTrader owns them, I think, at this point. I think they bought them or whatnot. All right, so it looks like this channel is not happening here. We were hoping for some sort of big wide channel, but there's just no rhyme or reason to that channel. Just ain't working, fam. Just ain't. Doesn't really line up anymore. We can try to draw from this high, but it doesn't look super feasible. Maybe. Hold on a second. Let me zoom in. Maybe. Why does this not want to connect for me? Hold on. What is going on here? I feel like I'm getting trolled. All right, there we go. This is a possibility that this is just the spike in channel like this. Or just it is like a rangy type of channel like that. I mean, that's the possibility, right? Maybe. But like, it's not going to help us that much. But we'll see. So you can kind of see that swing, and now we're up here at these highs. This looks like an overshoot. Right here. Possible overshoot. Which will be interesting if it is. Because if you try to drag this up, see how... maybe it's not. I don't know. It looks like an overshoot to me. A small overshoot. So what could happen here is we could bust out the bottom. Let's see. Your line... Let me draw your line on here again. Your line was from... where was it from? It was from like way back over here somewhere. Was it... from this high, right? Yeah, from that high. Your line was from over here. Like this. Like a slightly more shallow line. I'll put your line on there. Your line was like that. But I don't think that that's correct because of this close outside. This looks like an overshoot and a rejection off of this trend line that I put on here. So that's interesting. Yep. We'll see. I got your line on there just in case. My uncle just texted me. He's up in Scotland right now. Pretty sweet. It looks pretty sweet. Send me some pictures. Looks awesome up there. He also went to Loch Ness. That's pretty cool. I don't know if, where's our resident Scotsman? Is our resident Scotsman still here? We'll find out. Yeah, here, look. I'll clone this drawing and move it to the low. That's where it fits. Right, so that's your drawing, the blue one. So we'll just put it on there just in case. Now this could be an overshoot, but it didn't break out the bottom, so it might not actually be an overshoot. It might just be that this is a very slightly wider channel. This isn't out of the side of the realm of possibility that the channel does just go like that. It doesn't really matter. It pretty much is fine. But we don't have a close outside of the bottom of this channel either way. So that's the thing here. So like I'm not looking to just short here because we're still in this up channel. It hasn't broken outside the bottom yet. So you just got to wait. All right, let's see. All right, I'll be back real quick while this plays out. No, that's not what I do here, Bullman. That's not what I do. I went over the trades that I took earlier today, but I haven't taken any trades in a while. My last trade of the day was all the way back here, this red arrow trade earlier before that crazy move. There was a couple of times where I almost took another one, but these are my 3 trades of the day right here on the chart right there. And then this stuff I just marked, but these aren't trades I took. Okay, so we are breaking out of the bottom of this channel now. Two-legged correction. Let's see. Let's see. Does it hold? Let's see. Let's see. Does anybody have any other questions? Hope everybody has had a great week. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, looks like it's not. Looks like it's going to keep going. So let's see. This wider channel is just a possibility. That's the second entry long right there. I just don't like how bearish that is to take a trade there, even though it looks like it might work. I just don't think it's a good idea. Probably going to fail. I mean, it probably would have worked for a scalp, but I just think it's dangerous. And it's probably going to end up... There's a high likelihood it turns into a failure here and it dumps further. With just how bearish it's been today. So we'll see. It's unfortunate that we got the close outside and didn't get a new high up here. It came all the way down to there. I mean, it's just kind of a weird spot to take a long. Oh, it does work. Okay, so the second entry does work there, but still think it's dicey. Okay, we'll see if this wider channel does come into play here. Might not. Nope. All right. So there's the higher low forming. Not that you'd take it, but we'll see. All right, fam. I think I'm going to wrap the stream up unless there's any other questions. So I'll give it a second, see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I'll probably wrap up the stream. So if you got questions, drop them in the chat now, and I'll hang for like a couple of minutes, and we'll go from there. Yeah, so, all right, Jose. So, sure. Yeah, exactly. I have a 4-hour course, so he called it out there. Here, let me show you. So, obviously subscribe to the channel first. And then once you're subscribed, go to videos. And I got a bunch of videos here. But you go down, you can find this one. It's 3 hours and 52 minutes long. This is actual sections from my paid course. So that's the one I'd say would be really helpful for you. This is a NinjaTrader guide on setting up the free version of NinjaTrader. It doesn't have with my indicators and stuff that I've created. That's only for the school members, but there you go. These videos on 2000 tick charts are also really useful. So this one's only 2 minutes long. That's a really good one. Some of these other videos here show some different stuff. There's some stream recaps that I used to do. So you can check that stuff out too. There's a more recent tick chart video I did. Some of these newer ones are probably helpful for understanding the strategy overall. These shorter videos. So those can be pretty useful as well. So I'd say, it's kind of mixed, but the 4-hour course is probably a good place to see if you're really going to like my style of trading. This is going to form a second entry short right here. There it is. Second entry short. Let's see. Does this fit a wider channel? It might actually. It might actually make a wider channel here, possibly, if that level wants to stay in play, which it's hard to know for sure, but this is a second entry short here. This one. I wouldn't say it's ideal, but it is decent. You got some room to the lows. Yeah, you definitely got some room to the lows, so I think that that's a reasonable one right there. Yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate you all. I'm going to wrap the stream up here. I'll get the stream for Monday scheduled. It'll be at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. So as soon as this stream ends, I'll schedule out the next one so you can put your notifications on and go from there. I appreciate you all. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of the day, and I will see you all soon.